YouTube is EBAC.
Okay, we're back up.
Okay, great. We're ready.
We're back up.
Hey, bud. Hey, did you get a chance to take care of it?
Hello, my name is Ron Banks with EBAC.
Yes.
And right now we have a challenge going out to all the viewers. And in the room, actually, all the members that are here in our class. So we have a challenge. And the challenge is, and you can be part of that challenge too. And that is, we want you to get on and invite as many people as you can to view us. We're actually on ebacalliance.com, which is our website, streaming live. We're also on YouTube. On YouTube, you'll find us on YouTube. You'll find us a couple of places. The major place is just EBAC, and you'll see us come live. That is EBAC. You can find us also on GIS Streams. That's GISSTREAMS space VPS on YouTube. And our Facebook is, someone help me out. What is Facebook?
Executive Business Alliance Chicago.
Executive Business Alliance Chicago. That is our Facebook page. Executive Business Alliance Chicago. Did I say that right?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Yes. So we're gonna we have some exciting things going on today. I'm quite sure everyone that has viewed it us so far, we have had several interviews. We had Mr. Albert Burks earlier. He did a couple sessions, and our next session is going to be with Mr. Crump, and he's going to speak to us from the federal perspective in terms of how you can gain access to opportunities with federal agencies. So be attuned to us. So right now I'm just filibustering, just trying to give everybody enough time to get back online, because we did every week we do a 30-minute session, then we do another 10-minute session, then we do another 30-minute session. So right now we're just in between, and we wanted to take some time today to get everybody in the room. The room is buzzing. You would think this is a nerve center. This is a help desk center, because people are calling, getting people involved, getting people to interact, because this is the new technology. New technology is you go live and you call people and say, get on, hey, listen to us. So that's what we're doing today. We are asking you to call your friends, let them know. You know at this point where you're viewing us from. You should be able to see us in several places. On YouTube at EBAC, that's just simply EBAC. And you'll see a live link, and you actually will see me. So that's EBAC on YouTube. Go to our website. Our website is EBAC, EBACalliance.com. And our Facebook is Business Alliance Chicago. On Facebook. Yes. So, and we're just glad that you all are with us. So I know if you see me now you see me, call some other people.
Okay.
Okay, so we will so continue. We're going to give you some more time, and we will. I'm going to let Cheryl speak to you. Yes, sir.
Ron, you called it a think tank. This is our video person, our technical person, along with Anthony Bach in the back. Isn't he wonderful? Let's give him a hand. He's been here all 6 weeks. Yay! All the videos that you see. Well, we're going to make this simple. Tell your friends to go to YouTube and look at EBAC, and they will see it. EBAC.
Okay.
Just to YouTube. There we go. That'll make it real simple.
All right.
So, we want to talk about too, those of you, we know we had certain groups watching us, the fibromyalgia group off of Facebook, different groups. If you are at your home, you want to do your business, but you're sick or you're limited, you're a mom and you got to take care of your kids, or you just simply don't want to go to work. This is your time today. This is powerful. We're building our communities. So we want you to understand that in order to have a voice, as Al Burks always says, we've got to have some ownership. And the way to have ownership, start here with EBAC. We'll take you through the steps. Nobody else is doing it like we are. So again, we want you to go to YouTube, EBAC, EBAC, and you will see us there. Thank you so much. And you've heard testimonies today about donations being given to organizations that have been working with us, businesses that have been launched. This is your time. This is your season. You can do this. You can join us. It's effective. It's powerful. We have a great team of professionals that have various diverse backgrounds. And the gentleman that was just up here with me, Ron Banks, he's filmed for NASA. So, I mean, we've got some amazing people in the room.
Go to YouTube,
we want you to come join us. EBAC on YouTube.com. Go to YouTube and go to EBAC, EBAC. You'll see our logo that's displayed on our materials. We want you to join us. Join the Alliance here today. Now, we're talking about something especially sensitive materials today, very appealing. Please come and join us today because Mr. Andre Crump will be joining us, and he's going to speak on minority certifications. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. We want you to watch us. It doesn't matter where you are. Tune in. You can adjust to whatever your state requirements are. But now he's going to be talking federally, so that incorporates all of us. So get the information. Go back and watch our videos. You can go backwards, watch the videos, watch what we've been doing the past 6 weeks. Share. Please share this with your friends. We've got a room full of people. It looks like a call center in here today.
I only got a few
yes. Oh, it's going really great. It's going really great. It's really looking good. I got a chance to have a look-see. We're streaming at 1080p. Hey!
All right.
High definition.
Yeah.
All right. Boy, oh boy. You know, we never look so good on TV. not on the internet. So we never look so good. And so we're going to continue on. We're going to bring Mr. Trump back. I'm going to let you bring Mr. Trump back. And we're going to continue on. So it really looks good.
I'll get back.
EBAC, you heard what she said. EBAC is real simple. Just 4 letters. Acronym standing for Executive Business Alliance Chicago.
Executive Business Alliance Chicago.
Okay, so you can see we're also a fun team as well. So if we can have our live audience, let's stop our calls now. We're going to bring up Mr. Andre Crump, who is the Executive Vice President of Executive Business Alliance Chicago as well. He is our Executive Vice President, has a wealthy background. We're going to bring him on. Let's give him a round of applause, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, that was fun, right?
Yeah.
Fun helping other people,
Yeah.
getting them engaged, getting them to be a part of what's about to take place. So, just a short background on me. My wife and I just recently moved to Indiana. We lived in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, we lived 3 blocks from the Pentagon.
Oh.
Yeah, we lived in what's called Pentagon City. My wife was a senior officer. She retired as a colonel from the Air Force. She was the number 2 person in Air Force Medical Service and the Strategic Office. She worked for a 2-star general. And their plan, their task was to implement Congress's strat plan for the next 15 years. And so she accomplished that before she retired. So thank you to my baby. I resigned from the Department of Homeland Security under the Coast Guard this year. Prior to that, I worked for the National Guard Bureau in Washington, D.C., and I was a part of the Joint Staff where I wrote contracts for the Chief of Staff, the Chief of the National Guard, for anything from consultants to accountants to whatever. Before that, I worked for DCMA, Defense Contract Management Agency, where I managed over 800 contracts. Okay, I've seen a lot. I say all that not to impress you, but I want you to know I was afforded the opportunity to go through a door that most of us don't get to go through. I was trained and I saw what really goes on behind the scenes. I saw what it really takes to get one of these government contracts and be successful at it. When I was with the Coast Guard, my last position with the federal government, I managed billions of dollars of money building boats for foreign nations. You don't even know this exists because they don't put it out in the public. I built boats for all of the Caribbean, all of the Caribbean Coast Guards, different nations. I wrote the contract to build these boats. I built boats. You hear about what's going on in not Russia, but the other country. I actually built Coast Guard boats for that country. Wow. The stuff that's going on. You won't hear about this in the news. All right? So why am I telling you this? Albert talked about what the federal government buys. And I'm going to tell you here right now. You know, just like you go out and you spend money and buy certain things, the government does the exact same thing. Just about anything under the sun, the government buys. Okay. They contract with individuals and businesses and buy. Before I came up, I went and looked. There's a system you can go look at to see, you know, where the contract's at, what type of contracts are available, how many. Today, just Saturday today, there are 27,000 contracts available, opportunities available on the table for people like you and I to take advantage of. It runs into the trillions. All right? The DOD is the #1 buyer, not just in the country, but in the world. The current DOD budget is $686 billion. Who said they make cakes? Somebody said they make cakes, they cook, they're a caterer? All right, guess what?
Banana pudding. I know.
Guess what? The federal government contracts caterers every day.
Wow.
They contract caterers right here in Chicago.
The federal government.
The federal government.
Okay.
You have a trade, you have something they need, they contract that because they have to service their personnel. All right? I was working with a buddy of mine in D.C. He's from Chicago, and a contract came up to buy bread. All right? The bread was for prison systems, and I believe it was police department and something else. They were going to pay $8,000 a month for bread. And they were finding a hard time to find a vendor that would do the delivery. All right? Talking about food and prison system, a couple years back I was working with another partner that we went in, so my background is culinary too. We own a catering company also. So we were looking at food contracts. So during the Obama administration, he mandated that all food contracts through the federal prison system must go through minority businesses. People don't even know that. Be a part of the EBAC.
Okay.
The young lady asked, how do we find out about this information? Just being a part of EBAC, because we're going to roll this information out. We're going to give information to the members of EBAC. We want you to be successful because if you're successful, we are successful, and we help the world. Okay? These prison food contracts were about $40,000 a month. I'm talking about different prisons, not just all of the prisons lumped into one. Each state has a federal prison. That federal prison has to go through the federal guidelines to contract for their foods. I don't know what it is right now because I haven't checked it lately, but when we were looking at it during the Obama administration, all food contracts had to go through a minority business. There was a young lady in Atlanta that was sitting at her dining room table that all she did was make agreements with food distributor companies, put in a proposal with the federal prisons, and she was making about, I think she was making about $8,000 a week.
And making bread.
And she didn't put her hands on the food. She didn't store the food. She didn't have to look at the food. All she did was contract with the distributor and have them ship it straight to the prison. And she made money from her kitchen table. Sometimes it doesn't have to be this big, grand operation to get a government contract. They have them from anywhere. A buddy of mine in D.C., he's got a locksmith contract. He's getting $2,000 a week just to maintain locks with the Department of Commerce. It's as simple as that. All right? So, I don't know, I spoke to some of you in here today. Give me an idea of some of the businesses that we have here right now. What type of business do we have? Anybody? I know we got a caterer back there.
Well, I provide cell phone protectors. I have a business called For Good Health. It's all about environmental protection against cellular and wireless radiation.
Excellent. So the young lady says she has a cell phone protector type business where harmful effects from the cell phone won't.
It does not. These protectors, what they do, they significantly lessen the impact of the radiation that comes off of the phone.
Okay, so her product prevents the radiation from the cell phones to affect people. Guess what? If there's not a contract out there, there's such a thing called as non-solicited proposals. Non-solicited proposal, which means the government doesn't even know you exist. So there's no contract out there. EPA, DOD, they want to protect their personnel. They want to protect the systems that they use. You can approach these agencies and say, hey, I know you don't currently have this product, but I would like to submit a proposal, a non-solicited proposal of my product to see if you guys are interested in what we have to keep your people safe. DOD is the biggest supplier, biggest budget contract supplier.
What's DOD?
Department of Defense, the military.
Oh, yes.
686 billion. We just looked it up. I want to make sure it was correct before I came up. They spend more money on contracts than all of the other federal agencies put together. So you have a product, go to the biggest buyer.
What about a service?
Service, product, it can be solicited or unsolicited. Meaning they could be looking for you and they put it out on the system, or they're not even aware this product exists, and I want to propose something to you. That's just a simplified way of doing it. The VA, you hear about all of these bad news information about what's going on in the VA.
No.
The VA just got their budget. You know how much the VA's budget is right now to do contracting?
Billions.
$220 billion. $220 billion is what the VA, if they just got their budget, to go ahead and spend. So today is about minority certification, right? And I give you all of this because I want to lead in. I want to get your attention to where the opportunity lays. When you certify with the federal government, everybody else falls in line. As Albert says, the process isn't easy and it's not overnight, but once you're in, that's when the game begins. Okay? So, minority business certification. Do you know that the federal government mandates that a minimum of 5% of all contracts across every federal agency must go to a minority business? The federal government mandates that. Each agency has their own requirement, how many minority business contracts they're going to give away. All right? But it cannot be less than 5%. When I was with the National Guard Bureau, it was 16%. 16% of the contract, and I believe our budget when I was there was probably about $8 billion. All right? You know what the problem is? We couldn't find enough certified minority businesses to get the contracts. We had to give the contracts to the minority business that we knew were available. We had to give it to them. You want a contract? Here you go. You want a contract? Here you go. Can you do this contract? Here you go. We had to give them away. Because when Congress mandates a budget, you better spend every penny before the end of fiscal year. All right? So the importance of getting certified as a minority business can literally mean you being where you're at today to be in a whole different level of life. And we're not just talking about the money. Because once you're in, the game begins. You are opportune to different levels of just existence. I remember back in look at me like I'm crazy. 1997? I got out in 96. 1997, we got our first federal contract. Our first $1 million contract. Had no clue what we were doing. Don't even know how we got there. Thank you, Jesus.
I believe.
We don't even know how we got there. We applied. It took us 2.5 years, I'll tell you that. We were knocking on doors. We were asking, begging. We just saw a path. But we just didn't know how to walk down that path. And I'll never forget it. Major Martinez at Patrick Air Force Base in Florida came to me and said, hey, are you still interested in that contract business that you've been asking? I said, absolutely. 6 weeks later, we were handed $1 million deal.
For what kind of business?
That was our first major business opportunity, and it was a pharmacy service. I ran a pharmacy in the military. My wife is a registered RN and was in the military. So our background was in medicine. And I just had this idea. We had all of these retired military folks in Orlando that needed their medicine. They couldn't drive to the coast, to the military base to get their medicine, so I kept on proposing, let me take it to them.
Just taking it to them.
Let me just, I didn't have to dispense the prescription, I didn't have to stock drugs, I didn't have to do any of that. I just provided a service they didn't even know they needed. The other thing was they wanted all these people out of their waiting room. Because folks would come over, it would be an hour or 2 hour drive over to the military base, and they would sit in their waiting room all day to get their medicine. And they said, if you can provide this service, we will pay you. It changed everything. And I'm telling you this because if you grasp what I'm saying, it can change the trajectory of just not your life, but every generation after you. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Okay. I get along with this. So let's get into this. And I'm going to give you information along the way. Write this information down. You're not going to hear it from anybody else. Remember what I said. I was privileged to be let in a door to find out information that they don't let the public know.
Why is that?
There's a few reasons. Now, currently, the current administration wants to keep money in their buddies' pockets.
So we're talking corporations?
We're talking about Halliburton. Dick Cheney's company,
Okay.
all right, makes trillions of dollars. They want to keep the money in their pockets. That's the current administration. Past administrations, like during the Obama administration, he tried to open up the door and allow the wealth to be shared with folks that look like you and I. He tried his best. He had laws and regulations changed so minorities could have a piece of the American dream and a part of this big budget. He tried his best. As soon as he was out of office, they started closing those doors again. You with me? You'll never hear about it because it's not public information. You want to know how the Caribbean, all of the Caribbean got Coast Guard boats? Because the Obama administration mandated it. The Coast Guard boats in Jamaica, Bahamas, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, all of their Coast Guard boats were bought and delivered from the United States. All right? And the reason, I'm going to tell you some background on that. The reason why that was done was because we wanted to keep the drugs and the crime away from the United States. So we were able to stop the inflow from these countries. I mean, it wasn't just the Caribbean, it was all of South America, Mexico, Honduras, wherever there was a piece of water, even if it was a lake, we were giving them a boat. Keep the problems over there so they don't come here. Okay? But the bigger picture was he wanted to help us. He just put it under that flag. We're going to keep it over there, give them the money. When the new administration came in, they changed the direction of where that money was going. They dried up funds. They did everything. And I don't want to get political. I'm not here to do. All right? What I'm here to tell you is there is an opportunity that you must, if nothing else, look at. If you're interested, take advantage of it. Okay? All right. Let's see what we got. So the purpose is I'm going to try and help you navigate some of the information. I can't give you everything in the three-hour class. Federal contracting is a 6-week class in itself. All right? I went out and got a degree in government contracting. So I studied for 4 years to get a degree in government contracting. Then I did an internship with the federal government for 2 years to learn how it actually practically works. So I got the theoretical and then I had to go do the practical. And then I went to work. Okay? So my job here is to help you navigate through the waters of getting a federal contract. I want to briefly talk about whether you should bid on something or not. Once you've done all of what EBAC's going to teach you to do, get your certification, get your licenses, get your Duns and Bradstreet number, get all of that, then now you're ready to go step in the arena. Once you step in the arena, now you got to decide, do I bid on this contract or don't I? I don't know. Should I, this contract says it's in Chicago, it's going to pay me $1 million a year if I can remove snow. There's snow removal contracts available. All right? Do I bid or not? And I'm going to take you through a process of how you look at the contract to say, I can do that. Because the contract might want you to only do it on certain days at certain times or what have you, where you can't do it. You can't deliver. And you never want to get a contract and then don't deliver. You'll never get another one. You'll never get another one. Okay? And then, if we get to it, I'm going to go through how to prepare a quality proposal. Okay? Albert's looking at me like, how are we going to do that in the next hour and a half? Like I said, the whole contracting and getting certified and up and running, that's a whole 6 weeks class in itself. All right? But we're going to do our best. There is no quick fix to this. There's no easy way around. Laws have been put in place, and I know what you see in the news right now, that, the president picks up a phone and something's done. Yeah, that is happening, but that's not normally how it works. There's no quick fix. You have to go through the process. You have to get certified for whatever minority category you're going to be in. And I'm going to go over that here shortly. Okay? There's no quick fixes. Being a member of EBAC is going to take you through that process. Being a member of EBAC is going to help guide you. All right? And some of the things that you're going to need as a necessity just to be in the door. Okay? We talked about this before. All right? Whether it's the federal government buying something or you buying something, there's no difference. All right? The federal government looks at it as if it's a person buying a product or service. Is this product something we need? Does it solve a problem we have? Does it make sense? Is the cost of this product worth me paying? So the federal government, they have people like myself, I was a contract specialist, and they have contracting officers that look in society and says, who's got this product that we need? All right, we've got military personnel that's getting rash on their side because their cell phone is emitting radiation. Who's got the product that can help prevent this radiation?
I do.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. So that's how the federal government thinks. We have guidelines and processes and procedures that allow us to have a creative thought process how we go about buying stuff. But there are paths you have to take in order to issue a contract. Okay? So the federal government buys just like an individual. All right? Boots. How many people in here buy boots? Just about everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me ask you, what do you look for when you buy a boots?
Are they comfortable, the style?
If they're comfortable, the style,
the color,
the lining,
safety,
size, price, quality.
price.
Guess what? Everything you said is how the federal government looks when they buy a product. Everything you just said, they do the exact same process when they're buying a product. And guess what? They buy boots. My wife knows about that. They buy boots. They buy boots for their military personnel. They buy boots for the EPA folks. They buy boots for VA personnel. Okay? So don't think whatever the business you have doesn't have a room for what the government will buy. All right? What did I just say? When they're buying, they're looking at price, quality, comfort, safety, all of these different things. Okay? So when you're dealing with the government, the federal government, it might be a little different when you're dealing with the state or local. When you deal with the federal government, when it comes to contracts, it's a formal process. It's a formal process. You can't just hand in anything. You just can't come at it sideways. All right? Even though this individual has to follow the guidelines and they have to give you the opportunity like anybody else, if you just write down an idea on a napkin and turn that in as a contract,
You're not going to get it.
and you probably won't get a second look. All right? It is a formal process. You have to understand how the formal process works. You have to understand how to prepare a proposal. You have to understand when the proposal is due to get it in. You have to understand the guidelines that they put in the solicitation, the regulations, certs and reps. You got to understand all of this before you hand it in. That you're going to learn through EBAC. Okay? Like I tell people, they don't know what they did when they let me in the door. I'm trying to tell everybody. All right? Whenever you do any type of correspondence, so I was the person that received proposals. I would put a solicitation out on the street. I would say, hey, I need 150 pounds of jelly beans. All right? The White House is having a party for kids and they need jelly beans. I need 150 pounds of jelly beans. You have the opportunity to sell me your jelly beans. Send me a proposal. Well, if you send me something on a piece of paper, even though the proposal is well written and everything like that, I have the discretion to just disqualify you if you don't even have letterhead on your proposal. You know why? Because my assumption is they don't know how to do business right. And within the law, I'm given that assumption. I'm given a warrant to say, I don't think this person qualifies. So we always tell people, put it on professional letterhead. Costs you $20. You go buy letterhead. All right? You can send emails. It's perfectly okay to send emails, make them professional. Who has a website? Anybody have a website? Let me see. Yeah, be proud. I mean, that's okay. Because guess what? If you have a website, that means you have a company email. Right? You send me a proposal from Gmail,
Right.
Yahoo, if you still have AOL, guess what? Chances are you're going to get disqualified. Not disqualified, you're just going to get pushed to the bottom of the list. Because I'm saying this is not really professional. This is how the federal government operates. This is not professional. This is not, I don't think this person has the capability to operate at the level we need to operate to work with the federal government.
We got the.
You got
Dot the T, I.
cross the I, dot the T,
Yeah,
and dot the I.
yeah.
So if you don't, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to get a professional email. And I'm not telling you to go out and spend money. If you have a website right now, it's easy to get your company email. If you're going to send something to the contracting officer, be sure and use a professional email. Let me go into this. The acronym CO and KO, all right? They're interchangeable. The CO in the military is commanding officer. A CO in the military is commanding officer. But in the federal government, a CO is a contracting officer. All right? In the federal government, a CO is a contracting officer. But because CO in the military stands for commanding officer, in the DOD, they call him a KO. I don't want to leave you blank on any of these acronyms. So in the military, KO is interchangeable with a CO in civilian world, which means contracting officer. Okay? All right. Here's some must-dos. I'm going to try my best not to overload you in the information, but you're going to get all this because we're recording it, and there's going to be subsequent training. But I want to build a foundation on how to get a federal contract before we get it. You got to learn about federal contracts by getting involved with the federal contracting community. There are websites out there where you can just plug in, and experts are given free information on how to do simple things. There are websites out there. I can't even think of the one that they get certified through, but all of that will be available through EBAC. You got to get involved with the contracting community. Just get online, start understanding the verbiage they're using. You'll even learn when something might be coming out. A contract might be coming out before it's even public, because you hear that type of conversation on it. All right? Build an alliance. That simply means find people that's in the space that you're trying to get into. Find people in the space you're trying to get into. You're trying to, our caterer just left, but you're trying to do catering for the federal government? There's a way that you can see where past contracts were awarded to caterers. They even have a program SBA has a program called the Protege Mentor Program, where you can find these companies that currently have contracts and ask to just shadow them to see how they do business. Are you with me? Simple things like this. All right? You're not going to hear about it in the public. You're not going to hear about, that there's a point person in every federal agency that is there to help you get a contract. You're not going to hear about that. They call small business professionals. And it just really took off this year and last year. Something, again, the Obama administration put in place. These people specifically work for the Small Business Administration, but they're in different agencies with the federal government to help you get contracts. They call small business. You want to write it down. All right? Because that could be the ticket in the door of a federal agency you're trying to work with. Small business professionals, SBPs. And their job is to, if that agency has a requirement, 10% of all contracts must go to small business, that person's job is to help you get that contract. They forecast, every fiscal year, they forecast what that agency is going to need. You can ask that small business professional, what is the fiscal year forecast for your agency? And what they're going to do is they're going to give you a list of every contract that's coming down the tubes. It ain't even public yet. It's not even out there on the street yet. They're going to say we have to spend $3 million on socks. We have to spend $800,000 on paper clips. They can tell you before they even hit the street.
Can you get it at the alderman's office?
No.
Those are local and county and state.
Oh.
This information you have to go, and all of this is public information. They just don't tell you it's there.
Okay. Public.
You can get the name and phone number and email of the person, the small business professional in that agency, that would tell you what they're going to forecast for the next fiscal year, so you can get your ducks in a row, get yourself together, get in the door, so when the contract hits when the solicitation hits the street, you've already done your homework. You're not scrambling to get it done in the next 7 days. They call small business professionals, and actually, it's as simple as Googling it.
Oh, Google. Okay.
Go to Google and Google small business professional for Department of Commerce. And it should give you the name and phone number. Actually, there's a list with everybody on it from every agency. And you contact them. These are probably the few people that want you to contact them. Most of the people don't want you to contact them. These people want you to call them and say, hey, I'm certified woman-owned minority business. And I have a seamstress business. And I want to know, how can I do business with your agency? And they'll say, oh, well, let me see. Okay, I'm going to get you on the list. But look, we have a contract coming up where we need to sew patches on military people's uniforms, and it's going to come out in August. I'll be sure to let you know when it hits the street, or just watch the system for when it comes out. There's a person there that's specifically there to help you win the contract. Not just let you know about it, to help you know. A small business professional. They're in every federal agency. As the weeks and months grow, you're going to see more and more businesses join EBAC. All right? We're going to create an environment where we're sharing information. We're not just selling our products and services. We're going to share information. You own a bicycle shop. You sell wheels. You can buy your wheels from her at a discounted rate, but guess what? She just found out that the federal government are going to be looking to buy bikes for children in the military. That's how some of this works. So we're going to create that environment within EBAC. All right? And not just federal, you know, at every business level. We're going to create that environment. You're going to definitely have to become familiar with contracting terms. We're going to help you with that also. There are a lot of acronyms. There are a lot of, you know, if it took me 4 years just to get the theory of contracting down before I even ever did a contract. And then I had to do a 2-year internship to understand how to implement all these terms they give you. And then I was allowed to work in contracting. Trust me, it is something you're going to have to work at. It doesn't just come natural. Okay? Decided to bid or not no bid. We touched on that earlier. You got to know when it's going to be good for you or not. We've burnt the candles on both ends, just trying to make ends meet, right? But there will be a time where it just doesn't make sense to bid on a contract because you won't be able to turn in a quality proposal, or you won't be able to do the work if you get the contract, you know? And contracting is not always about who the cheapest proposal is. Just because you send a bid in that's lower than everybody else doesn't mean you will get the contract. We have a term called LPTA, lowest price technically acceptable. All right? That is usually for something like bread. We'll take the lowest price technically acceptable. Is it white? Is it made of dough or made of wheat or whatever? Can you cut it? Can you eat it and not die? Okay, you're technically acceptable. Now, who's the lowest price? I get this loaf for $73. I get that loaf for $112. We're going to take the lowest price. But when you get into the money contracts, it's not about the price. So don't undersell yourself. Right? It's about quality of product. They want to get their money's worth. When we shop, we want to get our money's worth. The federal government is no different. All right? So LPTA is usually for a product or a commodity that's normal. Everybody's got it. So we'll just take the lowest price on that. But when we're buying for quality, when you see us buy a plane, a boat, unique items, we're not worried about the price. Are you with me? Let me give you a story. So one of the contracts I worked on was to refurbish 40-year-old Coast Guard boats. All right? Refurbish them. That means taking this old boat, cleaning it up, and making it seaworthy again. All right? So it's important. We don't want the boat to sink. We want the boat to be able to move when we want it to move. We want it to be safe. All right? So the contract for 2 boats, the contract to refurbish a boat started at $7 million. All right? That's just they go in and make sure the motors are working, make sure the radios are working, paint the place, make sure all of the microwaves working, the mattresses are clean. That's all they do. We're refurbishing it. $7 million. All right? When the contractor won the contract, $7 million, they came back. The contract was supposed to be done. It was supposed to be done in 6 months. They came back right before the end of the period for the contract and said, "We're sorry, but the $7 million you gave us wasn't enough to refurbish this boat." Right? Now, normally you'd think contractually, well, that's your fault. You said you could do it for $7 million. You go fix it, make it work. But because this was a former Vice President Biden promised Aruba that they would have have Coast Guard boats by August of that year. We were told we don't care whether they were able to do it at $7 million or not. We want a quality product. That $7 million went all the way to $10 million by the time it was done. So do not sell yourself short, not just federal, your state and local government. Depending on the product, don't sell yourself short because it's not always about lowest price. Okay? I gotta get through some of this. So I've just given you some information, some data, some stories. The question is, who is this type of training for? Who is it for?
Entrepreneurs, everybody.
Anybody that wants to do business, is in business, thinking about doing business. You have to get this information if you want to get a federal contract. And it all starts with your certification. All right? Federal government. Here are some of the main certifications the federal government gives contracts for. The first and foremost is called an 8A contract. An 8A contract. Yes, you can go on SBA.gov or you can just go to Google and Google SBA contract.
SBA.
Not SBA, excuse me. 8A.
Oh.
8 alpha.
8A.
8A contracts. 8A contracts are awarded to minorities. You have to go through a process. The process isn't easy, but once you're in, you're in. Okay?
Yes, sir.
With an 8A contract, there is a no bid process. All right? Which means if you're an 8A certified business, you don't have to compete with anybody for that contract. 8A businesses go to the top of the list. If you're technically able to do the contract, you have the money where you can pay your client, your employees, you can do all this. You don't have to compete with any other business to get the contract. It's a no competition, no compete process. When I was with the National Guard, we wouldn't even put some of the contracts on the street. We just go on the list, which minority business has an 8A that can write technical papers. We go down the list and call you up and say, hey, do you still have your 8A certification? Yes. Can you do this technical writing service? Yes. Okay, I'm going to send a contract your way. It is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. My wife wasn't going to like me talking about this. My wife wasn't going to like me talking to this, but our ex-in-laws, our daughters, ex-husbands, parents, they worked for a company that was an 8A company. Money was flowing like milk and honey. When I tell you money was flowing like milk and honey, these people were making money and didn't know what to do with it, is what I can say. Am I okay to say that? I'm talking about the kind of money where they were buying planes. Forget about buying a car. Forget about buying a house. Forget about going on vacation. These people were buying planes. They were learning how to fly, and they were flying their own planes. Our ex-in-laws, we're good friends with them. You know, what happened with our kids happened with our kids. These folks got 8A certified through this other company, black-owned company. They got certified. They went from making decent money, middle income money, to now owning, to being blessed. That's the best way you could put it. I think they're doing like $5 million a year now. Homes in different states. Fly off places to go play golf just for the weekend. All right? what I'm trying to do is just impress upon you. It's there. And it's available. We just started a new fiscal year last month. All right? It starts October 1st every year. Get yourself together. I'm going to share information for, once I get to know some of the members, I'm going to share information of who you need to call. That's going to either help you get the contract or let you know what you got to do for the contract. Are you with me? So the top of the food chain is an 8A certification. And there are actually people in the room that's had 8A certification. They can tell you what I'm saying is true. In some cases, you don't even have to bid. They'll come looking for you. All right? Next up, depending on the agency, like for instance, the VA, the Veterans Administration, they award contracts, non-compete, for disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. Are you with me? Is there any veterans in the room? Oh, right. That's what I'm talking about. Do you know that if you go get your disabled veteran small business certification, and it could take up to 90 days, it could take up to 30 days because of the backlog. Once you get that certification, if that product is a product you need, that's needed by the VA, you go on a list and they will call you and say, hey, can you do this? And if you say yes, say, okay, we're sending the contract your way. Please give me a price on it. Happens every day. With the VA, primary things you're going to see are medical products and services. There are other things. There's technical writers and lawyers, and all types of things. I just saw something where they can't find enough. They're trying to contract out doctors right now, because they're getting a bad reputation of not taking care of their patients. So they're contracting out some of their medical services. So they're looking for doctors to contract with so veterans can go in their own community and get medical service. And guess what? That contract is worth more than what that doctor would make on a normal day.
Oh, just making the contract.
Just getting that contract. So going back to our ex-in-laws, all they do is build roofs. Roofs. All they do is roofing. And they're averaging about $5 million a year. All right? So first is 8A contracts. Next is disabled veteran small business, disabled veteran-owned small business. Then it's a toss-up between women-owned business, women-owned business, Alaska Native, and Native American. So the young lady that's a veteran and she's a woman, you have what we call high probability if it's a product that the government wants. Okay? All right. I've been a little long-winded. I hope this information so far is getting through. We haven't even scratched the surface of what we're going to say. We're going to try and get in as much as we did, but we need to take a 5-minute break so we can try and wrap up as much as we can. So 5 minutes, come back. I'm going to go through the list with some more stuff. Tell your friends, if you're watching from online, go to YouTube, put in EBAC, get this live stream. Tell them to get on because you never know the information we're going to share coming up might be exactly what they're looking for. All right? 5 minutes. Thank you.